Hey, Bridget,
Hey, John.
do you want to go live on YouTube for the first time?
Sure. Here we are.
Here we are. I really hope it's working because it is so hard to tell. And we did a little bit of a last minute adjustment. So we're sitting here in our room where we normally record our nicely polished pre-recorded episodes with our nice mics and our beautiful mixer and our perfect control over all of the variables. And we had a little bit of technical issue right at the last minute. And so rather than postpone and just not do it, we decided let's go ahead and do it anyway and just have a conversation about Halcy-Con because that was really what's important. So we'll get it perfect later and we'll come back and we'll do more lives, but there is a certain learning curve that goes with it. So, hey, it looks like we had somebody join already. It is Kixatarms81. Thanks for joining. We just started, and we're gonna have a nice conversation about Halcy-Con, which we just got home from this past weekend, and we're kind of gonna reminisce a little bit. I got my drink out, just like I would have had on Star Cruiser, and we made a little list of all of our favorite things that happened on the Star Cruiser, and that happened at Halcy-Con, and a lot of those people overlap between the two people that we experienced or met or made friends with on Star Cruiser, and then saw at Halcy-Con and got to sort of continue the adventure with, have really wonderful conversations with. So we'd love to take you through some of that. And a thing I posted about earlier tonight is we're going to do a prize giveaway. And the prize will not be given away tonight because we want to create some time for people to enter. But tonight we'll talk about what is the prize and why is it so exciting and how can you win it. Hey, Paul, thanks for joining. So yeah, we got a lot of ground to cover.
Yep.
So Bridget, first thing I wanted to ask you is, did Halcy-Con live up to your expectations?
Oh, yeah, beyond that.
Way above and beyond mine.
Way above and beyond that. Yeah.
My gosh.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went live yesterday morning in our PJs and just sort of like freeformed it in the moment. And we've had a little more time to think about it now. But one of the things I mentioned then is that I had a certain picture in my mind of what Halcy-Con was going to be like in terms of scope and scale. And it was so much bigger and more elaborate and more amazing and polished. I felt like I was seeing something that was several years in to its development. So super, super impressed on all fronts. Tons of people obviously poured many hours of love and care into the preparation of this. So if you are one of those people, man, kudos.
Yeah, hats off to you.
I really can't say thank you enough.
Yeah.
It's clear that it's been going all year. I know the discussion about doing this started this time last year. Clever by Half Production says they put a great thing together, didn't they?
Yeah.
Really like blew us away and kind of like opened our eyes to what is possible when you get this community together and point them at an interesting challenge. Boy, do they deliver. It was just delightful on every front. One of my favorite things about this community that I saw on display at the event was how supportive and kind people were. If there was a little bit of like a momentary hiccup or a technical issue like we had tonight with our audio, which is why we don't sound like we're on our nice Board Game Cantina mics.
Yeah.
And instead of booing or being snarky about it, everyone was just like
cheering. First year con.
Chanting first year con. Like they were so understanding that this is the first time they're attempting something like this. So I really want to salute Martin and Christine from the Heroes of the Halcyon podcast, who dreamed up this event for all of us to be able to come and enjoy. Obviously poured their all into it and gave us something that we absolutely loved. Hey, there's David. David, we had a blast with you, man. He says definitely went beyond my expectations. Multi-year cons make so many mistakes, and they got so much right the first time out. It was so impressive. Absolutely. Yeah, really blown away. And I had a bunch of photos loaded up on my laptop that I was going to pull up in my beautiful live streaming environment, which I can't really do now. So what we'll do is we'll follow that up with some posts of different photos. And I put one up earlier today that was kind of like just probably the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. We also have some of the swag items on our table here that we'll hold up and show that were so heartwarming to get from the other creators. Everybody had something.
Mm-hmm. A lot of swag.
So much swag.
A lot of trading, yeah.
Yeah. So before we go too far into it, I want to at least show what we're going to give away, because I know there's going to be people who want to see that. And I do not want to be one of those channels that makes you sit through 45 minutes of content before they just get to the friggin' point. So I'm going to step away for just a second, and I'm going to grab it.
And this is where it's just me, the introvert with less experience.
On camera. Worst husband ever.
Oh, never.
Why would you do that?
I would never say that.
Okay. So and what would be cool is if it could like stay on camera.
For those of you just joining us, we had some technical difficulties earlier that forced us to use our phone.
Yeah.
For this.
Thank goodness we have a phone
instead of the cameras.
Remember the days
and the
when all your phone did was just call people? Well, now it like saves your hide in a
You can't even see
moment.
this on the
This is a Cal Kestis Legacy Lightsaber from Disney. Yeah, it's so big you can't actually get a shot of the entire thing at one time.
Yeah.
That is how big it is. And anybody who is a fan of the video game Jedi Fallen Order, or now Jedi Survivor, knows that this lightsaber goes through a whole arc. It goes through a whole sort of narrative journey of its own. So it actually shows up over the course of both stories in several different forms. And this is one where it starts life as a double-bladed lightsaber, gets split in half, gets inherited, gets reconstituted, so hence the leather wrap in the center here, and is actually the union of half of its original self, and then the other half is the lightsaber of another character who is essentially sort of retired from using it and kind of bequeaths it. And then those two get brought together. So it sort of represents Cal Kestis, the main character of the games, trying to embody the best parts of both of those other characters that he got these pieces from. So in my mind, I was like, there's no way Disney's ever going to release that version, let alone allow you to plug the blades in and change the color, because a lot of the fun of playing those games is you'll periodically find a workbench in each of the locations that has a stand that looks kind of like this, and he will put his lightsaber out and you can get in there and change out the kyber crystal for different colors. So you can adapt Cal and his lightsaber to suit your preferences a little bit. So just in this past year, as they were leading up to the release of the game Jedi Survivor, what a beautiful shot of just the middle. That's basically all that fits. This is perfect. So Disney put this out. It was available for you to buy in the parks. It comes in a beautiful wooden gift box that is also really nice to display. It's got the Jedi logo on the front. And earlier tonight, I put up a post where it shows that off so you can actually like see it properly and not see it crammed into our tiny little frame here. So that is what we're going to give away. This thing, you can take it apart. You can use the blades in all the different colors. It's really fantastic. And as Dumbledore would say, by a happy accident, we bought 2 of them, and that was not intentional. There are people who will shop for you in the parks who are local. They're called smugglers. And we had reached out to a smuggler for help with buying one of these when they were about to drop, because sometimes they sell out. And through a little momentary lapse in communication, we thought that was not going to happen. Simultaneously, they dropped on Shop Disney, so we put in an order for one and wound up with both of those situations working out. So we unboxed one when we were playing Jedi Fallen Order with a friend of ours whose handle is I am Clark Jacobs, a couple weeks ago. And we have another one that is new and sealed and completely untouched by human
I
hands,
have not opened it yet.
unopened,
Yeah.
which may present its own problem because the batteries that they come with have a tendency to not last for long. So we'll work that out with whoever the winner is. But to get to it, here is how you can get your hands on this amazing Cal Kestis Legacy Lightsaber. As we were enjoying Halcy-Con, it became apparent that the costs of running a con that elaborate and that beautiful in its first year are very difficult to project the costs for. And the showrunners did an amazing job, and you're trying to get as close to the pin as you can on these things. You do not want to inflate the price to the point where no one will commit to going, because then you'd be in trouble. You also don't want to go so far under that you can't cover the costs of the event. And I think it takes a little bit of trial and error to get right into the sweet spot. So I'm sure that'll continue to evolve as time goes on. But long story short, we are doing a fundraiser to help kind of offset some of the costs that are associated with this first year, so that the people running the show are not taking all of that on themselves. That's an awful lot to ask of somebody, especially when they went and did it kind of on faith that we would all show up and enjoy it and love it and hopefully turn it into an even bigger and better thing in the future. And because it really blew away our expectations, we want to do our part to help support them. So there is a link that I'm going to post in the description of this post, and I'll also find wherever else I can put it so that it's very easy to find. And it is essentially a link to their company that runs the con, and it's called Starship Aurora. So that's how you'll know that you're in the right place. So watch for that link. I can't do it here in the moment because of our technical issues, or I would be flashing it up on the screen right now like this is a telethon. And I would be saying, everyone who can hear the sound of my voice, please consider making a donation. And these do not have to be big donations. I think, what did we hear was maybe like the sweet spot of a donation?
$50 per person, I think, is what they estimated was.
Probably, like if everyone who went to the con donated an extra $50, like I think that solves the problem.
Yeah.
And so we're not asking for people to get thousands of dollars in here.
Whatever you're able.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, to enter to win this lightsaber, there is no minimum amount. If you donate $1, you can enter. And the way that you would enter is when you take that link I'm going to post and make a donation, then you are going to be able to send me the receipt from your donation just as proof that it happened. And that will count as your entry into the raffle. Now, I do not need to know how much you donated, so please feel free to blur that out or delete it. And I do not need your home address. Unless you win and I need to send you this, then I need somewhere to send it. But that's about it. So just blur out anything that you do not want to share. And then that will serve as your raffle ticket. And then we have an app that we used for drawing prizes last year as we were counting down to our Star Cruiser tribute special. And that system actually worked really well. It's a web-based system where I load in a spreadsheet of everyone who has qualified to enter, and then it does an amazing job of just randomly picking and then displaying the winner.
Also, a lot of people donated during the con when they caught wind and were told about it, and were given the QR code to go to the page and donate. So if you donated while you're at the con, you can enter as well.
Yeah, you may have already done this.
You may have already done it. Send us your receipt. We'll enter you also.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that. We thought of a bonus opportunity. Hey, Patrick. How's it going, buddy? We would love to give you an opportunity to have a bonus entry in the drawing to up your chances a little bit. Another fundraiser that was going on during Halcy-Con, that's a stiff drink I poured myself, which is good. I needed it after the day I had. It's like we're right back in the Sublight Lounge having a fiery Mustafarian. The fundraiser that was going on in the Sabak tournament, which was amazing, was a beautifully staged event that raised money for an organization called Magic Wheelchair. And if you've never heard of Magic Wheelchair, they will help kids who are in a wheelchair to build a custom build that goes around it that will make it look like they are flying a TIE fighter or riding in a land speeder or all kinds of cool Star Wars and pop culture themed builds to go around. Like, they're substantial. This is some like high end work that's being done. So the entry criteria to get into that sabacc tournament, which I failed to do like a total noob, even though we have a podcast called Board Game Cantina, that if there's one thing we should have done at Halcy-Con,
Was play sabacc.
it was play sabacc. And we managed to miss the registration, which happened the first night, because it immediately filled up. It was an amazing turnout. And that thing...
In an awesome room that they decorated.
We are still fantasizing about that room. We spent the whole time looking at it, trying to figure out, like, how do we make the inside of our house look like that room they built?
Yeah.
And that was, the organization is called Sabacc for Charity, and they partnered up with Mike and Emily from Hyperspace Props, who make incredible sabacc replica decks and chips and metal credits, play mats, everything you would need to use to play sabacc at home. And then Rusty Rancor, who was doing all these cool faction flags and things that we were like,
So cool.
Can we deck out our interior with?
We're designing our faction flag now.
Yeah. So watch for a Board Game Cantina faction flag if they will help us with that. Let's see. Patrick says, I saw one of those kiddos at SDCC.
Oh.
It's amazing what they do. Yeah, it made me want to see like what all are they capable of with those builds. Batu Bounder, who I'm a big fan of, says that room was fantastic. Really made the con for me.
Yeah.
So to finally get around to the point, if you donated to Magic Wheelchair because maybe you were a little more on the ball than we were and you actually got into that sabacc tournament, then all you got to do is just send us your receipt from that donation, also blur out the amount, also blur out your contact details, and just send us the bare bones receipt, and we'll give you a bonus entry into the raffle. Because like I said, when I'm using that tool to do the drawing, I'm feeding it a spreadsheet, and I can just give you an extra entry in the spreadsheet. So it just ups your chances a little bit of getting picked. So that's a thing that we're super excited about. We're going to set a limit for how long we're gonna wait for entries, and I'd like to give it 2 weeks. So what if we come back and go live again 2 weeks from tonight on the 22nd? Are you available on the 22nd?
Probably.
I'll do it anyway, even if you're not available. Yeah. You don't have to like...
I'm hit and miss because
don't worry about it.
Folks don't know I sometimes have a 3-hour commute.
Yes, Bridget works
on Tuesdays.
in the city, and that sucker can be challenging to get out of.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kicks at Arms 81 says, I was so delighted when they put me in that room for Shuttle of Spies.
Oh.
Made it so much more next level. I didn't actually get to do Shuttle of Spies, but that was one of the ones I had programmed in my schedule. I just got waylaid with some other thing. So that's one where I'd love to hear a little bit more about how that went down.
The Space Camp Arts was in that room. And it was such a great place to be for that. It was almost like it was nice because we had our little like sewing circle making the blue shrimp. We were quietly doing the blue shrimp together in our little sewing circle in that nice cool room.
That was delightful.
It was.
Can I show that?
Yeah.
I want you to show off that blue shrimp.
They had they had paper crafts, so you can make miniature porg paper crafts or a larger porg paper crafts, and then they had a felt. If you could sew a blue shrimp. That's backwards. So we made little blue shrimp in that room.
That's so cute.
Yeah. Here's the paper craft porg.
How long did those take?
They had different colors. Not long. The sewing took a little bit of time. It was a 45-minute event, just like all the other panels, and the porgs were the easiest, and the kids loved the paper craft porgs. And then the blue shrimp obviously took a little bit longer because he had to sit there and sew and use the needle and the felt pen.
What a cute idea, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's so neat watching people not only show up to these events with things that they've crafted, but it's now spawned whole Etsy shops worth of memorabilia that people are making to kind of honor their favorite moments from being on Star Cruiser. And so many people love those blue shrimp. in the dining room. I got to meet one of the dining room cast members while we were there, and that was really special because that ended up being a surprise for us. It was one of our favorite parts of the whole thing.
I'll be selling it at Spark and Scrap and Ship after a bit of fine tuning, so anyone who missed it can still take part. Is that the Shuttle of Spies?
Oh, maybe it's a repeatable experience.
Oh.
That would be super neat.
Yeah.
Very interested in that because I love the idea of it. It sounded like a cool, like a little mystery to solve as a group.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, so I'd love to learn more about it.
Oh, okay.
Says yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thanks for letting us know about that.
Yeah.
I was that was when I was kicking myself a little bit. It was we were warned before we went that you won't be able to go to everything.
Yeah, and we knew this. We've been to cons before, and we know that there's always going to be something that you want to see, and you just gotta.
Yeah, we have to divide and conquer a little bit. So sometimes Bridget will go to something and come back and she'll tell me about it, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's how we cover a little bit more ground. I really like being in the room with you. To experience at least some of the stuff.
And then you can debrief afterward.
But it is neat.
Some of those heavier panels, it's nice to have someone to talk to after.
Yeah.
But so it's a nice problem to have. Too many great things.
Like it was really a wealth of content.
Yeah.
Amazing presenters. You know, I didn't really know what to expect as far as like who is running these sessions. Are they experienced at doing this? Is this just going to be sort of like off the cuff? But a ton of preparation clearly went into all of them. They were so beautifully done. A lot of heart went into it. I started off the very first thing Friday morning was the LGBTQ panel. It was more of a roundtable. It was quite an intimate setting. Beautifully run by Jen, who is one of my favorite people. She voyaged with us on our second trip, I want to say, in September, and was on our Batu excursion with us. And Jen took the most thoughtful, well-structured approach to creating a very safe space for conversations for people to have about either if you are a member of an LGBTQIA plus group, or maybe you have a loved one who is, or you're thinking about how do you talk to your kids about that so they'll grow up to be, loving, supportive, sensitive folks, or feel supported if they start to ask questions about this. Like all these different angles of the conversation were allowed to come into play in a way that is still kind of rare. Like it's rare to have a space that feels like this is okay. I don't have to worry what will happen if I bring this up. And so to have that, and it was quite emotional, obviously. We had an emotional support loath cat that we could hold to give some comfort. And if you held it long enough, it would start purring. So it was actually very comforting. Hey, there's Bearded Captain America.
We did not go to the Halcy-Con Days panel. Someone's asking.
Oh, that's Patrick's asking about the documentary.
No, we missed that panel.
Yeah, dying to see Halcy-Con Days. That one's been in the oven for a long time. And I know what that feels like to have a long-term project that needs lots of input from lots of people. But boy, does it pay off as it gets close to completion. I heard really good things about how it's coming together. Sounds like it got a standing ovation in the session.
That's great.
Let's see. Dave says, glad that session went well. It's so sad to miss that. Yeah, like we were saying, you can't be in all of them. So you just had to sort of place your bets and hope that the ones that you wound up in were good. And I also had a bunch that I had decided to go to, and then something would crop up in the moment.
Usually talking to somebody,
which in itself is...
Connecting with people is, I think, probably the best part of the con.
Yeah.
It's just sitting down and chatting with somebody that you've only gotten to know online, and here you are in person. Getting to talk to someone face to face is incredible. Yeah, some of these people we've only ever known online because they either maybe weren't on our voyage or they were, but we didn't meet them until later. Yeah. Yes, I am missing the gem already. There was a very special gem
that I got to have a moment with, thanks to Bearded Captain America, and I can't even put it in a word. I'm not going to start talking about it, or I'll start crying and like it'll be over. That'll be the end of the live stream. But yes, it was amazing, and really just a perfect example of, I think the theme for me for the weekend was things that you would never expect in a million years are possible when you go to this thing for no other reason than it's that the combination of how special the people are who are there, how creative and brilliant everybody is, and how generous and just caring and giving everybody is. So like my throat's closing up, so I'm gonna stop talking about it now. Don't ask me any more emotional questions.
Look on my face when you came to the hotel room and told me about that, and I just was floored.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, whiskey is the worst thing to go with, like your throat's already like tightening up, and then like just definitely pour some hard liquor down there. So Joyce says
Rising Moons. SWGE custom cargo.
Galaxy's Edge custom cargo.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Sorry.
Boy, you do not have a single thing to apologize for. That was the most beautiful gift you gave me. Like I can't even put the right words to it to do it justice. So anybody else who's listening who maybe didn't go to Halcy-Con and either considered it but didn't have time or is hoping there will be another one, absolutely, is it worth it?
Yeah.
I really hope you have a chance to experience it.
Yeah.
Because in the same way that you would come home from the Star Cruiser with kind of a new level of appreciation of like, oh, I see what they were going for. Like now I get it. That was kind of how this felt. Like I had a sense of it being much more of a casual meetup and a smaller scale. And that would have been like, by the way, I would have been so excited for that.
Yeah.
And that's why we decided to go.
Just seeing folks, I would have been happy with that.
That's what we thought we were going to.
This was so much more.
To show up to a second year con.
Second year con.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're hoping for it because there were quite a few people who were friends with who went on the Halcyon who were unable to go.
Yep.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I know they're really hoping for a second one. And we're hoping for a second one so they can also participate.
Yeah. There was a real theme in this one and some of the talks about designing new immersive and interactive experiences for the future.
Yeah.
About building on the experience of the Star Cruiser, but expanding it and finding new aspects of it that new fans and people who would love that can be folded into, and not just think of it purely as a thing that happened in the past that now we're getting together to honor, which is a worthwhile goal in and of itself, but it does not have to stop there. And I think that was sort of the lesson of Halcy-Con. There is something about it that stimulates people's imaginations and creativity to the point where I don't think there's any stopping it now. I think there is some momentum and a lot of ideas churning in people's heads that I don't think you could put the brakes on it if you wanted to at this point. So really excited to see what all happens between now and what I'm hoping is Halcy-Con Chapter 2. 2025. So fingers crossed. And this drawing, if you happen to join after we talked about the drawing.
Yeah, a couple things.
This is what we're hoping will at least help matters a little bit. We're just trying to balance the scales a little bit in terms of the financials associated with the con. So if you would like to win Cal Kestis's full-size, double-bladed,
unboxed
Legacy Lightsaber, an unboxed one. We're keeping this one. Yes. You can pry this one out of my cold, dead hands. The one that we're going to give away is still
already in the box,
still sealed.
Still sealed.
Yeah, and it's you're going to love it. But in order to win, just send us the receipt for a donation to Starship Aurora, which is the company that runs the con. Where they are working to make up a little bit of the hard costs associated with running the con, because it's very hard to estimate in year one. So we will post the link for that. You can send me your receipt, and you can blur out the amount and you can blur out your contact details. I don't need any of that. Really just proof that you made any kind of a donation is all we care about. Because the moment, like if everybody just does a little bit, I think that will take care of it. So very excited about that. You had a lot of stuff on your list that you were thinking about as highlights. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the next one?
Which one do you want to talk about next?
That panel with Jason was pretty great.
Yeah.
Jason Keller, cast member from the Star Cruiser, who is real special to us for lots of reasons I won't go into, did a panel, and it was like going to any other con where they've got celebrity panel guests. There's Jay. Hey, Jay, we miss you. And one of my regrets of the con is not getting our picture with you, because we saw your gala look and I was like, there's our photo op, and we managed to not do it.
Yeah.
So regrets coming home from that one, but we'll definitely look to do that next time we see you. And hopefully it won't take all year to get back to that point. But Jason's panel covered all kinds of ground, from him talking about his time working on the Star Cruiser, talked a little bit about his acting and producing career prior to that. We got to learn some of his history, and got to meet his family. His beautiful family was there, and that was so special. Really just an amazing guy and a good human being. Kind of a nice example of, I think, whoever was casting Star Cruiser and whoever was hiring all the blue crew to wrap around that was so good at their job. Like really good at finding not somebody who just has the technical goods for delivering whatever the work is, but somebody who is just a good human being at heart, because that they knew that was gonna come through on some level. I lost count of the experiences I had where somebody was being amazing to us, or supportive,
so many people,
or helping us through, because I was managing my boys through some stuff while we were there. They helped us with that. The logistics of how to kind of operate the narrative and your participation in it worked pretty smoothly for us most of the time. But every now and then you'd be like, oh, Bridget and I are in two different things on opposite sides of the ship. It would be cool if we could be together in this one. Is there anything you can do? And the blue crew, who are all so sweet, would be out there on their tablets and be like, beep, bop, boop. Yep. Okay, you're good. Just go in there. just badge in and they'll let you in. It was effortless. Like I couldn't have had a nicer experience. The food was incredible.
Yeah.
So what else can we cover?
Well, I kind of jotted down a few things. There were different rooms in the hotel that you could go to that weren't just the panels. The panels was just one aspect of the con.
Right.
They had the marketplace where they had all the makers.
Could have used a whole nother day on the marketplace.
Yeah.
Just by itself.
I did not get enough
with nothing
time
else
at the marketplace. They had the exhibition hall and the gallery, which I think a lot of people missed, but there were some incredible there's incredible art and recreations inside there.
Yep.
There was the Sabak for Charity, which we already talked about a little bit. And then the hotel itself where we stayed.
I cannot emphasize enough how much of a best practice it is to be staying in the hotel that is also home to the event.
Yeah, that was convenient.
So that way, if you get a little tired or need a break to just recharge your batteries physically or psychologically, because there's a lot of emotion. Obviously, like everyone is so wrapped up in how this feels to be back together again, that to be able to just get out of there for a little bit and then come back, even if it was just to drop off all these items that are all over our table here, so you could be ready for more, was it was nice. It was so nice, and not have to like go get on a shuttle or something and like take a whole hour to leave and come back. Really fantastic. So grateful they did that. So grateful they found a place that had so many nice amenities. To have a Starbucks even right there in the lobby.
And so many conference rooms, and places you could go. The hallway leading into the main rooms that they had decorated with the backdrops you could take your picture in front of, and the poster
Mm-hmm.
art in there, and the tables that people utilize to put their swag for anyone to take was a nice touch.
I got to chat a little bit on the gala night with Anthony. I think his handle is Anthony808, who was responsible for producing those giant murals. And I bet probably a lot of the signage. I know there was a whole team effort involved, but to be able to hear him just talk about how happy it made him to see everybody being able to enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
We were standing right there as people were coming up and getting their photos. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't understand, I was impressed at the size and the quality. I did not understand until I started to see the photos that, the point is to make it look like you are actually back in the ship.
Yeah.
There's atrium photos in front of that atrium mural that you would absolutely believe were taken back when we were on the ship. Mm-hmm. Like, just unbelievable bar for quality, way beyond what I would have ever pictured for a first year thing. I didn't even know you could print stuff that big and have it look so good, but hats off.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Kicks at Arms says Saja Records did a lot of the signage. Yeah. Oh. Well, we know Beth is a genius. Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me one bit. And we know how much she loves all of this subject matter. Yeah. So that's wonderful to hear.
Oh, that's good to know.
Navi Golden PSD says second year con. Kicks at Arms says made changing into dry clothes after the prisoners run so much easier. Did you go outside? I heard
I think they went by the pool. Run. Did you all jump in the pool? Because I saw some video where it looked like you went to the pool area, but then I was wondering if you jumped into the pool.
That's amazing.
That would be really...
I didn't know the Narkina run was a thing until right before the event, or jumped into the pool. Okay, wow.
We didn't know that.
I missed that whole thing.
We heard it, though, because we somehow got lucky and got a room that was right outside the entrance to the con. So we could hear everything going on from inside our hotel room, which normally you wouldn't want, but it was actually kind of fun to hear people having fun out there and chatting.
Just loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really felt like we were kind of with
they
our
jumped
people.
In twice. That's awesome.
There's video.
Yeah, I hope there's video. We've been looking at Facebook and Instagram and trying to see video, but we were hoping for some of the panels that we missed. We were wondering if some of those were videotaped and if you could see them. Oh, it posted on TikTok.
Navi posted a TikTok of it, and if this is who I think it is, I met you on my way out of the bar area when everyone was just socializing the other night. Are you the one with the beautiful pupper named Navi with the blue tail? Yeah. I was telling her that her channel is so beautiful, it might be enough to get me to reinstall TikTok. I just wanted to scroll all of these amazing pictures of that doggo.
Which panels? Oh, I came in late to exploring the future of immersion entertainment, and John missed that.
I missed it
with Michael.
I don't know where I was.
Tara Garver, and so we were both hoping. We saw some. I think somebody was videotaping it, but we were wondering if it would become available online, because I came in late to that, and I regretted it because she was so incredibly engaging. And
yeah. And in my mind, if you would have asked me a year ago, if they do this first year con, do you think they'll get Michael Tara Garver to come and be a keynote? I would have been like, that's an awesome idea, but you probably have to build to that. That might be a year 3 thing. Mm. So they took some big swings at this event, and boy, did it pay off.
Yeah. So that's one I was hoping that they...
I'm dying to hear that.
And then John went to some panels that he told me about later, which was great, but I would have liked to maybe have seen, I don't know, some of it. I know that some folks probably don't want to be videotaped, so I understand that.
Yeah, but there's a lot to that. So I'm waiting to kind of see how that shakes out, if they'll be able to post any of that content. My assumption is that they won't, but if they do, that would be a huge win. Because that content was so good, and it was so much better than what I was prepared to be satisfied with.
Yeah. We also came in late to the Trial of Croy, Lieutenant Croy, so I was hoping maybe that.
A lot of work went into that, I can tell.
We caught most of it, but just the beginning.
Paul Field says, I have some hastily written notes from
Oh,
Michael's talk on the property names Culture House is working on.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, Culture House is really a thing to watch.
Yeah.
If anybody missed that and doesn't know what Culture House is, from what I understand, this is Michael's new initiative where she's pulling in some of the coolest writers and
Creatives.
producers and
Yeah.
creatives to generate this whole wave of future experiences.
Immersive experiences.
Like, I think the future of immersive is in real good hands if
Yeah.
that's gonna go the direction.
It's exciting.
That
It was inspiring to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick says getting to meet Michael is so cool.
Yeah.
So Paul, I would maybe take advantage of, if you're open to sharing some of those notes. Like, I'm super curious to see some of that. What was the other one I was going to mention? Nick Tierce did a very nice panel discussion about designing interactive experiences, which he's been doing for years. He goes back a long ways and has done stuff sort of Disney related or Disney adjacent, and he's done stuff in other spaces. And I'll say it this way: a person who is super knowledgeable about immersive and interactive experiences asked us if we had seen a documentary called The Institute on YouTube, which I had not heard of. I don't think Nick actually may have talked about it a little bit in his talk, but I missed the first few minutes of it. The Institute, if you're into any of this, all I'm gonna say is go watch it, and
YouTube documentary.
You will not be disappointed.
Yeah.
There are layers. It's like a thing where there's like layers of the Matrix, to where by the time it was over, like we were like, oh, this is a cool documentary, like super interesting, this thing that it's covering that happened many years ago, like in 2011, I want to say.
In San Francisco.
And over the course of it, we started to look at each other and be like,
what is happening?
Is this
I looked at
real?
John and said, what is happening?
Is the documentary even real? We still don't know.
Yeah.
We immediately started.
I don't want to give too much away.
We immediately started Googling.
Yeah,
it's an exploration that if you like this kind of thing and you like anything that's even remotely meta, you're gonna be super into it. Batu Bounder is
Montgomery Manor.
Are these different experiences?
Club Homes, Debbie. Oh, those are the ones that.
Is that what Culture House is working on?
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
I think so, because I think I heard her mention Taste. Yeah.
Yeah. So
those are ones that,
I think my takeaway is that the experience of Star Cruiser and meeting all these amazing people and meeting all of you guys it's kind of opened our eyes to like, what else is there? What else is out there? Because I know a lot of people's sort of first instinct was to turn to like escape rooms, Meow Wolf, the sort of ones that have a lot of visibility and are easy to notice. But the documentary was filmed on my last cruise. That the Halcyon days people maybe came on that cruise from Navi Golden. But yeah, like, I think it makes you feel like there's a whole layer of society that has been hidden to us. Somehow I missed a lot of it. Yeah. I was aware of some of this being developed when I was getting out of college. The internet was kind of new. The movie The Game with Michael Douglas, which is all about creating a situation where you do not know if you are in a game or not. And what if you're not? Like, that's pretty scary. Like, it was a David Fincher movie around the time of making Fight Club and all of that. So, but my knowledge of what is happening today is pretty light. So when people like you will educate us about things we ought to check out, it's super cool and interesting, and it is really a lot of fun. So that was a biggie. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Sleep No More session? I loved that.
Yeah, the Sleep No More session was so great.
Another eye-opener.
Yeah, we didn't know much about Sleep No More, and then we went to that session and thought, we have to experience this, and during the course of the session we found out it's closing, so we might not get to. We likely will not get
Our
to.
Our timing is amazing.
Closing soon.
Yeah.
But if anyone's in the New York area and had the opportunity to go,
It gave me,
Try to.
it sort of gave me a dose of like people who maybe didn't find out about the Star Cruiser until towards the end.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh shoot, that's like right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was aware of Sleep No More, and I knew there was a little bit of connection point between that and Star Cruiser in terms of some of its DNA. But I had just heard people make certain comments that didn't have me feeling like it was a must see for me, just based on my interests or my, like, what is my style. But after watching Jen's panel, where she walked us through, like, what exactly is it, and had us actually handed out these masks. So if you've ever seen one of these masks from the show, it immediately evokes a certain vibe. And, like, gave them out to everybody in that who came into that audience. We put them on. So imagine being Jen and looking back at a room full of those.
And the lights are turned off.
Turn the lights down.
The mask's on.
And
and she starts to describe what it's like.
Yep. The idea was it adjusts your field of view just a little, and it gives you kind of like a director's lens or like field of view. So you get to control what are you focusing on. Like you're controlling the scene almost like for yourself, completely different from what the person next to you might be doing. And then you can split up and follow actors around through 6 stories of this building, where there is a story being told that is essentially a modern day, not a modern day, I think it was like a 20s or 30s period piece, retelling of Macbeth. Which you might not necessarily realize right away. And then you gradually kind of piece together what you're seeing. But much like Star Cruiser, you can't see it all. You are going to have to choose which pieces of it you want to focus on, and then just kind of be content that that was the version of it you got. And if you want to see what you missed, you have to come back and experience it again. So I was like, ooh, that's neat. I bet there's people in here that went like 2 or 3 times. And Jen was asking for a
She says,
show of
raise
hands.
your hand if you've been, like 10 times.
10
raise your hands
times.
if you've been 20. 30? People are still raising their hands.
Who's been 35?
35, maybe.
40 times. And people were still raising their hands. People at this panel
And then
the
Jen
other
lets
day.
us know she has been 56 times.
56 times. And when I first heard that, I was like, okay, well, that seems like a lot for anything. And it was not until I got through the end of the presentation, I was like, I think I get it. Like I can kind of see myself doing that now that I get what they're doing here. There is so much to be explored and puzzled over and figured out. And then I had the most beautiful discussion with Jen later that I will not go into because it was pretty personal. But I came away from that really understanding how something like this, much like Star Cruiser, can be a source of comfort. There was a thing about Star Cruiser that really helped me. There was some stuff that was going on around the time of one of our trips. And it's not a stretch to understand, why do people get so emotionally attached to the actors or the storyline or these artifacts that we're interacting with, like the stone. They sort of get imbued. There was some discussion this weekend of the imbued object, like where we pour meaning into it, even if to anyone else it's just sort of an arbitrary thing, or if that's a good actor. But for us, they become that character and they mean the world to us because of this singular experience that we've had. And Jen made it clear that you could, not only could she have that with Sleep No More, but many, many other people who have been enjoying it for years are too. And it is now beginning to just now open in other countries. I think Shanghai, I heard, was one of them.
So while it may be closing in New York, it's going to be opened elsewhere.
It lives on.
And then Batu Bounder said there's another one that opened up this year called Life and Trust.
Life and Trust. That's another show in New York.
Yeah.
There was a woman in the audience who told us a little bit about that afterwards.
And then Paul Fields named some other REM, Roller Rink Fan Club. Oh, K-pop. These are ones that Michael is working on.
Taste AR restaurant.
Okay.
So cool. Like it feels like
it's very exciting.
Like we've cracked open a whole another world.
Yeah.
We've taken our first steps into a larger world.
Yeah. She specifically mentioned Seattle when she was giving that talk, that there might be something that her company is working on in Seattle, which
Whatever.
is where we're closest to.
Yeah, whatever. Like, I'm gonna go to it.
Yeah.
No need to sell me now.
You will be there.
Yeah, if Michael Terragarver and any of these people are involved in any way,
Yeah.
I already know it's going to be super cool and interesting and fun to explore and fun to discuss. All of you guys that we made friends with are now like part of the experience, like an integral part of the experience. And this is another thing I don't think I understood before we went on Star Cruiser the first time, is how important the communal aspect was going to be. I did not know how attached I would get to all of you, to where if you were to subtract that now, and we don't have Halcy-Con, all we have is like some vacation photos of us in our cool outfits and like our neat environment that we're in.
Right.
Like, that would be great.
Right.
But it would not have the same layer of emotional attachment that I think is what makes it something we want to continue to come back to. That community really makes it stick. So I'm super grateful to everybody. Every single person who's on this live stream right now listening to this is part of that for us. And you talk, we were guests on the Heroes of the Halcyon back around the time of our first voyage. And I think we probably just come off of that. And they made us feel so like safe. It was like getting under like a safe blanket and just talk about how the experience felt to be part of, because we had been taken by surprise by so much of it. So thank you to them for allowing us to do that. But then as time went on and I listened to other people's episodes, I was like, oh, we are just one in a sea of people that have been continuously having this amazing emotional engagement with this story. And now as I picture a small universe of other stories and other interactive experiences like that coming into existence, or maybe there's ones that have already been around and I just didn't know about it. It's so exciting. It's like it's like we hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
So to be able to go do that with you and all these folks is like, I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah.
Let's see. Batu Bounder says, if you can't make Sleep No More.
Yeah, I just read that.
Oh, that's the Life and
Yep.
Trust. Layla Starship, Something Topia. Hoping to see Sleep No More before it closes. Might be a detour. I was unclear if it's closing this year or next year.
I think it's closing in November.
Of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's only so much travel budget.
Yeah.
And boy, did last year do a number, because our Star Cruiser voyage was supposed to be February of this year. And instead, we ended up going twice last year through the miracle of Sarah J. Mack and her travel agency Wizarding Powers. We were able to not only pull our trip forward, but also go again. And I would be really regretting it if I hadn't at least gotten to do a do-over once I understood how the Star Cruiser worked. Anything else you want to cover on here? I think we talked about a lot of the biggies. Trial of Croy was really neat.
Yeah.
I could tell they put a lot of work into that. That was elaborate. There was full costumes. There was a full-on Wani, like a perfect Wani present at the trial of Croy, as a like witness. There were witnesses testifying. There was video evidence being presented about whether Croy was really guilty or deserved a second chance. So that was pretty neat. People love to sort of ruminate on, does Croy really have a heart of gold underneath? One of my favorite things about the actors who played Croy is they could get you to question that. We had a sort of a design on, could we try to turn Croy? That was a little bit of our angle, because we wanted to do some First Order stuff. I'm not sure I could bring myself to fully role play like genuine First Order. So we were like, what if we sort of have a layer of First Order where we thought it would be funny. Our first trip, we had outfits that were like board game Cantina colors. And
blue and gold.
Yeah, we thought it would be funny if the second day of when we went back, we sort of flipped our look into more of a First Order color scheme of like the same outfit, as a way of appealing to Croy that like, yeah, we're sort of buying what you're putting out there, but as a what would you call it? a misdirection or like we're trying to trick him into thinking that we're working for him, when really we're there to see if we could maybe recruit him for the resistance. And all the actors were so brilliant at just taking whatever you show up with and finding a neat way to just go for it. So we're coming up on the hour.
Yeah.
I'll just recap one more time if there's anybody who missed it back at the beginning. How can you win this amazing giveaway, which is the Cal Kestis double-bladed lightsaber that is reconstituted at the, if memory serves, it's at the end of Jedi Fallen Order, the first of the games, where it can also color change to like 6 different colors, as though you're changing. It doesn't have actual kyber crystals inside it, but that's what's happening in the game, is he's customizing which crystal is in there, and you as the player get to kind of like pick the look that you like. So this lightsaber is the one that we're keeping, and the one that we're giving away is a brand new sealed, unblemished Cal Kestis Legacy Lightsaber. To win it, all you have to do is send us, make a donation to Starship Aurora, which we will post a link for, and take your receipt that it will automatically email you, blur out the amount, blur out your contact info, and just send me what's left as your proof of donation. If you already donated to Magic Wheelchair during the Sabacc tournament at Halcy-Con, or you would still like to donate to Magic Wheelchair, I'm sure those donations are still open, do the same thing with that, and we'll give you a bonus entry into the drawing. And then 2 weeks from today, on what I believe was the 22nd of October, just double checking the calendar.
And if you donated while you were at Halcy-Con,
then you've already done it.
You've already, and still send us.
You don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Just send us a receipt from that. But like I said, we don't need to see the amount, and we don't need to see your contact details. Just send us the receipt with that blurred out. If anybody doesn't know how to do that and needs help with that, let me know, and I'll be glad to help.
But we'll send a link. We had some technical difficulties, so we're unable to post the link while we're.
Yeah, we were gonna flash all this on the screen for you to make it super easy, but
we had to pivot.
Yeah, this is us pivoting. So this is why we're like cozied up together in a tiny little frame with a giant lightsaber that is too big to show.
It's a good thing we like each other.
Yeah, you're pretty great. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for making all these cool comments, and it just makes us feel like we're hanging out with people that get it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how important that, I mean, I'm sure you all know how important that is. It's very difficult to explain this stuff to people who are not as into it as we are, and we know all of you are, so that's pretty special. So thank you for joining. Please consider donating to Starship Aurora and Magic Wheelchair, and we would love for you to win this 2 weeks from tonight.
Yes.
To the hour on Tuesday, October 22nd is when we'll do the drawing, and you'll see lots of posts from us counting down to that, so you can't miss it. We'll make sure you don't miss it.
Yeah.
May the force be with you.
Yeah. And I want to say that we're thinking about our friends in Florida right now who are in the path of that hurricane.
Yep. That was...
And we hope everyone stays safe and their families stay safe.
Yeah, please stay safe. And if this fundraiser is a thing that people are excited about, maybe we should do more of that. Maybe we should do something related to hurricane relief. The jury's still out on like what will come of that, or how big is the damage. But if there's anything I know about this community, it's that you will show up and help support in all kinds of amazing ways, probably ways we can't even anticipate. And that's one of the things that makes it so special. So thank you for just being the people that you are. Watch for new cool stuff. We'll make lots of posts over the next couple weeks about the hurricane, as well as we learn, like, are there ways that we can get involved to help? We would love for you to be part of that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'll raise a glass to all of you. I hope you had a wonderful weekend at Halcy-Con. Fingers crossed.
Second year con.
For second year con. That would make us so happy. I know that's not decided, or we don't know if it's in the cards, but I sure hope it is, because the experience that we had with all of you was just amazing. Amazing. Hope you have an awesome night.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining Tabuite. And now I'll hit the button and see if it actually does its job.